How y'all all welcome? Moon Griffon Show, almost dressed. Brandon going, hold up there, explain it to him. Anyway, how y'all all welcome? Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Brandon, if they're not in there, I'll get them at the break. No big deal. No, I know where they are. They're sitting in that truck out there.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard for you to get them just going out there, I promise you. Anyway, great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program, it's your opportunity to be a voice. And boy, am I loaded up today. And I'm not making it up, folks. We got so much going on. I want to get to everything. I'm going to get a little bit into the 3rd Congressional District race. IGL and them know they're in trouble. They already started all the negative stuff. One particular story that they brought up, I want to be able to tie everything together for you because it's typical good old boy network politics. It's typical I'm getting beat. The only thing I can do is run for office. In IGL's case, he couldn't do anything else if he wanted to. But they're going to go negative on Higgins, and they already have. And wait till I tell you one story that's breaking in the Advocate because I think it needs to be set straight. And by the way, I ain't talked to Higgins. I ain't talked to Angel. I do my own work. I find out my stuff because I know people in high and low places to get information. Brandon's going, yeah, you got to go low sometime, Brandon. You got to go low.
I was going to say, does the low outnumber the high?
I don't know. Sometime it has to. Anyway, we're going to get to that story in a few minutes. A tax commission member resigned. This is somebody on Edwards' tax commission. New Orleans businessman who has not paid property taxes in 30 years on a building of his own has resigned from the Louisiana Tax Commission. Anyway, that's going on. And it's, let's see, about $140,000, I guess. He owned a building but hadn't paid a penny of property taxes. So he's resigned from that particular. By the way, the ones they need to resign off that tax commission are Jay Darden and John
I knew that was coming.
Hey, not him. Put him back on there. Put him back on there because those two guys need to resign from the tax commission. And trying to tax our state to prosperity is a phenomenal thing. And by the way, I don't know if y'all saw this or not. University of Pennsylvania, this is a true story, offering puppies, coloring books to students distraught over the Trump win. Puppies and coloring books. Administration of the University of Pennsylvania reportedly provided students upset over results of Tuesday presidential election with emotional support puppies, coloring books, and chocolate. That's right, because of Trump's victory. They're just so sad. There were actual cats and puppies there. There were sheets of paper available with black and white printed designs on them for students to color. Essentially, they look like pages from a coloring book. And so anyway, we are reaching out to all the distraught kids that just can't handle getting beat in the election. Ain't that cool, folks? And what a loving country, huh? By the way, you saw what Kaepernick said? Voting would have been hypocritical. Oh, yeah, the man that started the NBA ratings on a downtrend. Voting would be hypocritical. That's right, Brandon. By the way, he lost with his 3rd or 4th game in a row.
Well, you're talking about Kaepernick. He ran into the end zone and did his little black power symbol as he scored his touchdown yesterday.
Well, I didn't see that.
Mm.
I mean, thank God I didn't see that. As long as he keeps losing, I figure we headed in the right direction. But nothing surprises me, Brandon, about these people. Now we're giving puppies and cats and coloring books to students over this. I mean, what a pampered bunch of millennial babies, the ones that voted for Hillary. I mean, they really think, and I heard a pastor, actually my former pastor in Monroe, was in Monroe, and he made the point of voting for politicians and believing they're going to change your life and putting your hope in an elected official. That's what happens. You nut up. You nut up. You put your hope in the Lord. You don't put your hope in politicians. Politicians lie, steal, cheat. Most all of them, not all of them, but most all of them. Look what they do. Look what they've done to the country. Look what they do with the press. So you're going to put all your hope in a politician. That's why these little kids are nutting up. That's why we've had riots. You know those riots, what they've changed, Brandon? Not one dang thing. Not one thing. And by the way, the popular vote movement is out there. They out there sending letters to electoral college people telling them, you need to vote with Hillary. She won the popular vote. Hillary lost 30 states. So if you say the popular vote, or it's state by state, Brandon, then you got to go Trump because Trump won 30 states of the 50.
I mean,
that's popular vote.
You look at the map, and all across the map, it reflects the Electoral College because Trump, like you said, won 30 states. You literally have like Trump all over the USA, and then you have Hillary in like pockets.
Well, the
heavily
pockets,
populated
pockets are the big cities.
New York, California,
and that's what happened. Those areas are so poor in those areas. They're desperate, and yet they keep voting for the same people, thinking they're going to get out of it. And that's what I mean. They got hope in the politician. They got hope in the left. Obama was president for 8 years. Income's down. Unemployment's way up. They don't show the real number. He's destroyed healthcare. He's destroyed the economy. He's destroyed our borders. I mean, he's done nothing but destroy us. They don't write about it. They don't tell people the truth.
I was reading a liberal argument about it the other day, and the person was saying, because it's a liberal that votes here in Louisiana, and said, well, I'm sick and tired of every election, my vote not counting for the Democrat candidate. That's why we need the popular vote so all our votes can count. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Go look at the map. Do you realize you want to give the power to 3-4 states to decide who the next president is?
It would be just those few areas. You pile a few more people in there, and you win every state, and you win, and people think that you all of a sudden has changed state in the worst direction you possibly can go. Brandon, I'll say it again. Electoral College is such a great, brilliant thing. The last 7 elections, Democrats won 4, Republicans won 3. If you had popular vote, Al Gore would have been the president, and Hillary Clinton would be the president today. Now, that's what you want? Because they can figure it out. And like you said, Brandon, we got it on my Facebook, another model. It's at Moon Griffon, Facebook, and Moon Griffon. It's got the picture that talks about the Electoral College. Also, if you look at the same areas that Hillary wins and that Obama wins and the Democrats win, most drug-infested, most crime-infested areas in the United States of America. I got the map. Go look at the map, Moon Griffon, Facebook, and you can see it and make your comments there. It's right there for everybody to see. Okay, it's for everybody to see. These few areas dominate our landscape, and it's a shame. Obama was able to fool people because the press fooled people. You know, and but anyway, look at it on the Facebook. I want you to look at it. Electoral College, brilliantly thought of. People that are pushing that. Ralph Abraham, who's the congressman in the 5th Congressional District, he said, let's get rid of it, and that tells me Ralph don't know sheep from wild honey. He just don't know for him to make a comment like that, and that's the new congressman that they just voted back in saying we need to do away with it. People like that really ought to be beat. When he said that, that should have been a rallying cry. We need somebody else in the 5th Congressional District. He doesn't understand. He's not going to come on his program and talk about it because Mr. Ralph, you're going to embarrass yourself because you telling me you wanted Al Gore and Hillary Clinton to be the president of the United States. That's what you're telling me because Republicans have won one popular vote in the last 7 presidential elections. One, Brandon, and that was Bush's second term. But had he lost to Gore the first time, he may have not got a shot at the second term. Okay? So, and by the way, the one he won by a decent margin, but that race was close too. They thought Kerry was going to win that race. And he eked out Electoral College victory.
I believe that was the same election where they dropped the day before the DUI arrest of George W. Bush, which definitely hurt him.
Exactly what they did. So, anyway, it's an amazing thing to watch as we continue to watch it. The Electoral College, brilliantly put together by our founder. Brilliant. Great job of putting it together because that means the reason it was done was to protect the small states. That means we are a player. Louisiana's a player. Arkansas is a player. Mississippi's a player. Maine's a player. Alaska's a player. Hawaii's a player. And you see, Democrats already built in. Look at the states they win automatically before the election happens.
You better watch out for Texas.
Well, but let me tell you something, Brandon. Florida's flipped back and forth. The South has been pretty steady, but some of these states, Bill Clinton won Louisiana. Bill Clinton won Arkansas. He was a Democrat. He won Georgia. Bill Clinton won a lot of southern states. You know, he did. So what I'm saying is they flipped. These states like New York, California, Oregon, Washington, Hawaii, Illinois, they don't ever flip. They going liberal Democrat every time. So, yeah, they want the popular vote to be successful.
Well, you brought up Bill. It's safe to say he has a certain charm that his wife does not have.
Well, and Obama has the same thing, too. But they're both full of boop, and they're both not good for the country. I know people that say, I did good under Bill Clinton. Selfish. Bill Clinton hurt this country, too. And all that stuff that Bush went through with 9/11 and the recession that has already started before Bush got there. Bill Clinton took an economy that was doing really well, but they had made the economy stupid, and people bought into it. But the press went out there, Brandon, and interviewed people who had a problem with health care and were losing their jobs and all that kind of stuff. Just think if they would have did that under Obama leading into this election. And health care interviewed all these people, Hillary loses by 20. Not by a few, but 20. All right, when we get back, more to come. Angel and them, Timmy Teeple, Bobby Jindal and them, what are they doing to Higgins? Well, I'll let you know that when we get back. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has that hotline if you'd like to be part of the program. By the way, Brandon, David Duke, is he the new senator? David Duke? They wrote all them stories about him, Brandon, proving my point of what the press job is. You know, it's their job.
No, but his sons are still up all over the I-10.
I know they should be burnt, but that's just my opinion. Gee whiz, what a loser. And that press kept writing about him, proving what the press is in our state, too, and I'm going to prove another one. All right, Higgins and Angel. Angel being a typical politician, old guards, old school, and guess it already started. All the negatives started. Wow, he's in trouble. 71% of the people voted against him. Hell, he didn't give a 39% in St. Martin Parish, where he's from. They know him best. 61% of people voted against him there. It's the same old crap, folks. Sending him there is a joke. All right, here's the latest. Here's how to press. You got to remember, John George of the Advocate. I want you to, Brian, I didn't even bring that into you. John George of the Advocate supported Angel in the governor's race. Okay? Angel can be bought and paid for. We already know that. So there's a story today. Mark Ballard writes, Clay Higgins faces child support lawsuit from his former wife. Now, I'm not going to get into that because that is what it is. But let me tie in a few things on this story. First of all, John George, who is a gigantic Angel person. You got to understand that. So they're going to keep writing stories like this. This story pops up when Clay gets in a runoff. Okay? Ex-wife suing for back child support. You ready? Since 2005. Now, how stupid is she? She had kids at home and she didn't try to get the child support. We also found out that it was in Texas. The judge awarded the money. He goes in law enforcement. It was $100 more than he took home. But I'm not going to get into the child support. Here's what I want you to know the rest of the story, because you got to understand the connection, the Angel connection and the Jindal connection to understand this. And I'm the only one going to put it out and tell the truth on it. Okay? His ex-wife, Stormy, worked for Bobby Jindal. The suit is filed after he gets in a runoff. Not last year, not the year before last, not in 2010, not in 2008, not in 2005. In 2016, once Higgins gets in a runoff. This is stinks from high heaven, okay? This lady does not even live in this state anymore. Now, let me throw the connections for you. Number one, Stormy used to work for Jindal. Number two, Timmy Teeple, the worst political hack man in the country who hurt Neil Reiser, now has Angel as a campaign. I used to remember in the governor's race, Brandon, they used to try to tie, remember we used to laugh, they try to tie Vitter to Jindal when it was always Angel. Always Scott Angel. And Scott Angel's coming out negative because his is grass, and he knows Higgins is the lawnmower. They know it. They know people are tired of this type stuff. So here we go. We got to run off. And all of a sudden, the ex-wife decides, you know what? Since 2005, I'm owed a lot of money, so I'm going to go get the money after he gets in the runoff. Wonder what kind of money she's getting. So let me put the tie-downs for you. She worked for Jindal, Timmy Teeple, Bobby Jindal Dowd. I told you, they run to the right in the public that he's a conservative Republican. On the left, the blankos and the people are out there, and they go into the Democrats and paying the money and try to get the voter base out for him. That's what you're dealing with. Political trash. All right, so here we go. We got Stormy worked for Jindal. Teeple's a Jindal guy. Scott Angel hired by Bobby Jindal. He's using all their campaign people to fundraising lady everybody. And guess who filed a suit? Jimmy Faircloth, who used to work for Bobby Jindal. Now, you don't think this was put together and dropped right at the perfect time? It was planned. Why? Because Scott Angel is Obama and Hillary Clinton and all this bad politics we've been putting up every year. I just laid it out for you. For people going to have to make a decision. Because I was told last night that, well, you know what, he ain't going to be able to explain this in 20, 30 seconds. There's nothing to explain. I can't justify anything that went on for his child support. What I do know is they dropped this in the runoff because Scott, the Wizard of Oz, Angel, no heart, no brain, no courage, pull a curtain back. That big mouth and that big head is a little bitty guy who don't have a clue. That's what blows my mind about this. Now, people can make up their own decision. I can't make it up for you, but I'm telling you the combination. By the way, on election night, just for the Jindal-Angel connection, it was funny that two of his kids, according to the article, attended Higgins' election night. Wow, ain't that nice? His kids are supporting him. So his ex-wife, who doesn't even live in the state now, drops a suit when Higgins gets in a runoff. And all the combinations are Bobby Jindal, Bobby Jindal, Bobby Jindal. She worked for Jindal. Timmy Teeple is a Jindal sycophant. Scott Angel worked for Bobby Jindal. And then Faircloth come with the lawsuit. Ain't that cool, folks? Don't you? This is what we've been voting against. This is why Donald Trump is the president of the United States. Because people rejected the trash that Angel and them are putting out, and the pack is coming. This is why we in a dogfight still, folks. It's a sin and a shame. Now, you can buy into anything you want to buy in and vote for or against anybody you want to vote to. I want to give you the rest of the story. Because you're right, as the guy told me, this can't even be explained in 20 and 30-second minute ads. Okay? If I was Higgins, I wouldn't explain it. If you're explaining, you're backing up. Number two is, why would his ex-wife not, Brandon, and they got cases out there, why wouldn't you, when you needed the money, all the kids are 18 older now, all of them are gone. Why would you say, you know what, I'm going to get some money back now? Why not? Why? Do it when you're in a runoff. Do it when you're in a run. And this is the kind of stuff I believe people rejected in the past election. They got tired of the politics as usual. They're tired of the corruption. And it's Angel and Jimmy, Bobby Jindal's team, all hooked together for this. All together on this. The lawyer, the ex, the campaign guru, the one that burned down everybody's house and land, Timmy Teeple. And, of course, there's Scott Angel, Mr. Innocent and Mr. Perfect. You know, can't go wrong with him. Let's take a break. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. bananas. I can't believe you put that in there. Bananas false. Oh, by the way, a great story on that today. John George and them are trying to make this like, and even the headline just is like Vitter and Edwards, Kennedy and Campbell. It's not even close. This is what they do in the news media, just like they're doing with the Higgins story. It's listen, you vote for who you want to, folks. If you want the same, Angel's your guy. If you want to go against Trump, he is. They're working hard on the Democrat Party to get out the Democrat basic vote. They're putting the money on the streets. They're going to be out there trying to buy votes before it's over. And but this story right here, all this is tied. John George's, all agenda people, all ready to drop because this is what's sad. Scott Angel's been nothing but a politician. Never worked another day in his life that I know of. And he can't beat him head up. Scott Angel, without a PAC, without him coming up with these stories, coming up with stuff like, could not beat him head up. He's not a Trump guy. Everybody knows it. Oh, he'll be running. The first commercial besides negative is going to be how he's a Trump guy. He's not a Trump guy. I'll bet you 50. Well, I ain't going to bet you. I guarantee you when Scott was a liberal Democrat, which wasn't too long ago, guarantee you he voted for Obama at least once. Guarantee you he voted for Obama at least once. But anyway, this is the kind of stuff I'm just saying. Now, look, if I got to explain this every day for people to understand the connection, that why this happened with a lady who doesn't live here, who could have did it in 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, does it after Clay Higgins is in the runoff in 2016. And the ties, I know Timmy Teeple. Nobody runs a nastier, meaner campaign than Timmy Teeple. And you're going to see him bop Higgins to death. And because Scott Angel cannot win head up. He cannot win on the issues. He cannot win on anything. Just because you gave a speech on a moratorium 8 years ago don't make you great. When he got up there, they embarrassed him. You still have that clip of him going to Washington, D.C. I ain't going to show him. He's going to talk about the Boudreaux and the Thibodeaux and the shell fields and the all fields and all that crap. And they sit there and laugh at people like that. That's all good down here, folks. But up there, it's a serious game. He gets up there and embarrasses us. He can't even answer questions. He didn't even do his homework before he went there, and they just embarrassed the heck out of him. You think he's going to get up there and give a big old speech in the Boudreaux and the Thibodeaux and the shell field and the all field and the cat field and the cow field? You think he's going to get on there and people are going to be impressed with that? They're not. They're not. They're not ever going to be impressed with that. And then they dropped this bombshell today, but it's after. Folks, the election was Tuesday and it was dropped today or yesterday. And within a week, somebody decides, you know what, the former wife said, I need some back pay. Let me go ahead and drop it after he's in the runoff. And Angel and the Jindal people, all in the middle of it, folks. And they can't deny it. I can deny it, but they're lying. I just gave you the connections. I have not talked to Clay Higgins at all. Saw him Friday at the deal. First time I met him was Friday at the deal. I'm just trying to put this in perspective. This guy's been a Trump-type guy, and Angel's been a Hillary Clinton-type person. And I don't care what anybody says. I'm not wrong on this. I'm right. And they're losing because you know why I know they're losing? Look how nasty this is getting ready to get. Just this. All planned. All planned. You have a lady, and look, I don't know the lady. She may be the best person in the world. Okay? Why didn't you file suit back in 2005 or 6, 7, 8? At least by 2010. You wait 6 more years? Oh, he's in a runoff. Huh, he owes me money. Yeah, you egged on by all the Jindal team. All tied together. I didn't miss by a person. I may not added a person, which means, and if I got to explain this on a daily basis, I will. I don't mind explaining something like this. This is easy. This is easy. He's getting beat because he can't win on his own merit. He can't win on what he stands for because he stands for the old political guard that we just rejected, whatever other word you want to use. All right, let's go to the phone line. We start with Chris in Lafayette. Chris, how you doing? Why? Well, I don't even look at it as two Republicans running. I just want to know why. I think the best thing to do is out with the old and in with the new. But I'm not in the Republican Party, Chris, so I can't make that judgment. I don't have a vote. I'm not in the party. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't. I'm telling you what's happened. This thing is swung against Angel, and that's why the PAC is hitting him, and that's why they came up with this frivolous lawsuit. Think about this: you had 11 years to file suit, and you never did till the guy makes the runoff in a congressional race, and then I just tied all the Jindal people with them. All this together, Timmy Teeple is by far the worst person to get for a campaign. He really is. And see, that's Jindal's guy. They're using Jindal's guy there. They're using Jindal's lady to raise money. I used to tell Jim Beam and the Advocate, they used to try to tie Vitter to Jindal. And I said, that's an outright lie. It was always Angel. So if you vote for Angel, you vote for Jindal's. But he's also tied in with the Blancos, and that's why I call him the windshield wiper. You take the cheek of you take the rear end, the right cheek and the left cheek. He kisses both sides. That's the problem. Thank you, Chris. God bless. Appreciate the call. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it. Hotline is the number. Pam in Lafayette. How you doing, Pam? Yes, ma'am. Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been reading about it. I've had people tell me about that it was and you know what? What do you do? Here's what happens. Anytime we have a tragedy, and let's face it, the flood is a tragedy for a lot of people. Government wants to respond, and what happens is the first thing they want to respond with, of course, is initial help and then money. So what happens? You got so much money being thrown around. That's what happens. They just can't monitor anything. It seems like they can monitor it pretty easily, but they don't, and they can't. And it's so much money coming. It did that during the Katrina, Rita. That happened a lot. Well, let me say. Well, Pam, what's sad is I read a story the other day that we hadn't decided how to spend the $435 million we're already getting. They hadn't even put out a plan yet what they're doing with that money. There's people out there. The floods were Brandon, 1st of August? Okay, here it is.
About middle August.
Middle August, yeah. 2 months later, September, October, 3 months later, people trying to get back in homes, trying to get some help, and the government's sitting there going, well, let's see how we need to spend this money, and it gets to be political instead of helping people. And like you said, people are going to abuse the system because there's so much money. All righty. Well, thank you, darling. We got to take a break. 844-766-6607. Hey, folks, I'm going to stick with the 3rd Congressional District. I just want to be fair. Head up, Scott gets racked. But it's not going to be head up. He's tied in with the political good old boy network. It'll never be fair. But just like with Trump, you can make it fair. We'll take a break. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. We'll be right back. All righty. How y'all all? Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show, 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline if you'd like to be part of the Moon Griffon Show. Yeah, I saw that too, Brandon. Trump softening on the border. Trump softening on health care. We don't know none of that yet. Brandon, all that is run the mouth. That's all they run my mouth, and that's what they do. By the way, let me give y'all some phenomenal news. Remember 10 weeks ago, my eyes itching, I'm not crying. 10 weeks ago, we found out that, Maddie cannot hear but about 20-25% out of her ear. Mm-hmm. So there's a process, Dr. House and Jackson, let me give credit where credit's due. Maddie's nerves in her, where you hear off these nerves, were 100% in great working order. But because of the surgery she's had, getting those tumors out of her ears and almost got in her brain and killed her, they had to go so deep it damaged some of her hearing. Actually, she probably hears 25-30% out of each ear. So communication with her, and I'll be honest, I'm gonna go back to Danielle Price at STM and the options program, because they, even though we with Maddie every day, you get used to it and you miss things. We for God's sakes, we're parents, we miss things. Okay. Well, Danielle at the end of the meeting last year, and she said, we could put a hearing aid. Well, hearing aids didn't ever work with it. It gummed up her ears. I mean, I tell you what, I smelled some things bad in my life, but nothing worse than that. So we yanked them out. Well, going back to this options program with Miss Danielle Price and the fine teacher she has, and I'm grateful to the school, we decided to go give a second look at this. And when we did, Dr. House, they took the nerves in that little bone behind your ear. So they took, Brandon, it's a little metal piece, and what is that, Brandon, 2 inches? 2-3 inches? Yeah. And they drilled into that, where that nerve's at. Okay, and we did this 10 weeks ago, if y'all remember. And they put a little metal thing in there. And a metal thing comes out. You can feel it right outside of her ear. Yeah. And what that piece is, she had to go back today, and it's a hearing aid about the size of maybe a quarter. Okay? And what they had to go back, everything healed perfectly. And they clicked that little thing on there. And so Tanya just called me and said, Maddie can really hear now. And I'm telling y'all, it's a miracle from the good Lord, because part of her situation, not with the special need part, I mean, we still got to deal with that, but part of it is, if you can understand and hear and communicate in life, as y'all know, nobody's ever accused me of being bright, but I can't communicate with people. I can't hear in my ear, and you can't do that to me, because I lost a nerve mumps when I was a baby. So that nerve is shot in my left ear, but not my right. So clicking this hearing aid on will allow her, and according to Tanya in the testing, she'll go back in 2 weeks to make sure everything's working perfect. She can hear both ways 100%. Now that, folks, technology has come a long way. And I am just grateful and thankful for all the prayers and stuff. But according to the teachers, they think, and we do too, they think it's going to open up a new world for her. Because one of the things, if you talk to Maddie, sometimes, y'all not around her, Brandon. It's maybe a little hard to understand sometimes. Sometimes you understand perfectly. Brandon, what you eating tonight? You understand that. But
and we certainly understand her thoughts about Bobby Jindal.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. But Maddie has an unbelievable memory, too. She can remember things like you wouldn't believe. And like last night, I was asking about, actually, we were going to Monroe. I brought her to Monroe, then Tanya took her back to Jackson. I was trying to figure out the name. We went to the Fish House, the place we used to eat all the time. We met there. And so I meet Tanya there, and I'm trying to remember a couple of the waitresses. So I kind of describe them, and I couldn't remember their name. I'm getting older, so I got memory loss, not memory gain. And Maddie sat right there and smiled. She said, "You mean Megan, Daddy?" I said, "That's who I met, Maddie." Once again, Maddie strikes again. Great long-term memory. Yeah. So we're to the spot now is that we believe and hope and pray that her hearing, if it does, and I'm saying it's going to work because it's working now, 100% out of each side will help with the speech, will help with the communication, will help when we communicate with her, maybe not as loud as we have to sometimes. Because sometimes you go by the Griffon household, you think we're hollering. No, we're trying to communicate. The hollering bunch of people I ever been around in my life. Well, not really. Not really. But if you're trying to get his attention, I mean, you got to do that with me. I mean, your buddy Jade Andrews, I go fishing with Jade, and I don't suggest anybody do that. But anyway, go fishing with Jade. Well, Jade gets on the left side, and then he goes, huh. And I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Man, I've been talking to you for 20 minutes. You don't say a word." And when you do, it's huh. Well, that's if you get on my left side, it's not a whole lot I can do. And I like to read lips as I talk to people as well, just a communication level I was taught at. So it's almost a miracle for us. It really is in a way, and we're very thankful. And insurance covered a lot of it, even though my new $39,000 premiums I'm getting ready to take over in January. I hadn't figured it out yet, but I'm working on it. I know I'm gonna have to work hard. I know that, but I can handle that part of it. That's the easy part because I'm used to working anyway. But anyway, a blessing for Maddie and for our family that this process healed properly. And that it's not big, and you'll be able to see it behind the ear. If somebody actually a cochlear implant, I don't know what they name it. I don't think it's quite what Rush had, but then again, maybe it is. I have no idea. I know the nerves was still 100%, so she was allowed to. She was allowed to get this, and you know, just for her to be able to hear. You know, it's a miracle in our lives, and we thank the good Lord and thank Him. I mean, big time because. And we thank, like I said, Danielle Price and all those folks at STM that teach in that class that have to work with Maddie on a daily basis. They work their butt off to make sure Maddie can be the best she can be. It's one of the reason we moved to Lafayette. There's a lot of reasons, but the reason to move to Lafayette. And I'm telling you, without those teachers coming, we didn't know what to do with this hearing situation. We couldn't put in, and then go to Dr. House, who, by the way, has been working on Maddie since Maddie was 6 or 7, 5. Tanya knows all those ages. I'm going to say 5 or 6 years old. So he's had her for 14 years. And I'm telling you what a doctor, what a great guy. And he's one of the people that can handle Maddie. And Maddie never squirmed or get upset. He was so good to her. And so, once again, we're thankful. We really are. And so Tanya and them are headed back. And so Tanya was really, and I asked my wife, did you cry? I told Brandon, she's crying. We got good news. Then I asked her, of course, she bust out crying at the deal. And Maddie was crying. And I don't know if the doctor was crying, but everybody was high-fiving. And, you know, God's still good. He still sits on the throne. And that's who we trust. We don't trust politicians. We trust the good Lord. All right, let's go to Ray and Kaplan. Ray, how you doing, brother? Well, first of all, absolutely he works on adults. Number two is that, you know, you'd have to go see him because there's so much new technology. Look, this new technology was not around when we first went to the hearing aid. It is now. And my suggestion is to call him. Yeah, he works on adults and kids and everybody. I got to go back to a doctor who's I consider a friend of mine and a friend of the family. And I'll tell you how Dr. Renee Dugas in Monroe, Dr. Renee Dugas in Monroe, Louisiana, was the guy that said, look, when they had those tumors, he said, look, this is what I like about people that are honest. He said, look, I could do the operation on Maddie with these tumors. He said, but I only do a couple of 3 a year. He said, I want Maddie to have the best. He said, I'm going to send you to Dr. House in Jackson. I do 3 or 4 a year. He does 3 or 4 a day. And so he was so, now think about this doctor. A lot of doctors, doctors are honest. I think doctors for the most part are pretty honest, but this guy was really honest. This is a friend of ours saying, I want you to have the best. And so I go back to Dr. Renee Dugas, very grateful that he said, here's the guy you need. Here's the guy you need. And so it started with that. So and let me tell you something, one other story. There was a teacher at Maddie when she was at Grace School, Miss Stokes. And Miss Stokes, when Maddie came back the first time she had this procedure, she said, my son's having the same problem. And she went to see Dr. House, and they immediately operated on him. You know why? It was about to break into her brain and kill him. She thought Maddie was an angel because Maddie, they say, saved her son. Now, that was Miss Stokes because all Maddie did was come back and we told him what went on. And so they got it done, and he had no problems, and he rolled on, and thank God for that kid. He's probably no telling how old he is now. So I would say call him. Get in touch with them because if the nerves work still, if your nerves still work, they can do stuff for you. My nerve on my left side is dead. There's nothing they can do for me. But if your nerves work, they can do for you. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I understand, but check that out. Got to go. We'll be right back. Hi, hello. Welcome back, Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline if you'd like to be part of the program. And look, there's national stuff. They're already blasting one of Trump's appointees. Folks, they're going to blast Donald Trump every single day, no matter what he does. We're going to start hearing how bad the economy is. I just saw national debt growing faster than you think. I saw one report where the news media said, well, we're going to start telling the truth now. Don't tell it under 8 years of this president we have. Tell it now. I mean, it's just unbelievable what's going on. Nutting up like I've never seen it. By the way, one other thing. I want to get to the Senate race. I want to get to that. And, of course, your phone calls 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline if you'd like to be part of the program. I want to get to one other thing. All right, Angel gave a great speech. Then he had a chance to go to Washington, D.C. and tell them about the Boudreaux and the Thibodeaux and the shale field and the oil field and the cane field. And that's when the embarrassment came up. Brandon, how long was this?
Well, this is about 4 minutes. This was in 2011 in March. The House Natural Resources Committee ranking member Edward J. Markey of Massachusetts, he was questioning Scott Angel, who at the time was the Department of Natural Resources Secretary, on the drilling safety in the Gulf of Mexico following the BP oil.
Scott went up there to tell them like it is, folks. Listen to this.
The oil companies, pursuant to the categorical exclusions that the Department of Interior routinely granted during the Bush administration, that led to absurdities such as plans requiring the evacuation of walruses from the Gulf of Mexico in the event of an accident, even though walruses hadn't lived there for 2 million years. So, you know, we just got to be realistic here about what kind of job the oil companies were doing. They were absolutely irresponsible, and their irresponsibility
no, they weren't.
Is something that, you know, goes to their safety record. Secretary Angel, on page 225 of the Independent Commission report, said that from 2004 to 2009, fatalities in the offshore oil and gas industry were more than 4 times higher per person hours worked in the United States waters than in European waters, even though they were the same companies. So given that it is 4 times more deadly to work offshore in U.S. waters, and that the Commission found that the safety problems were systemic, and that not a single new safety measure has been enacted into law since the BP disaster, don't you think that we need to ensure that these rigs are operating safely in order to protect the lives of workers on these rigs and the livelihoods of all Gulf residents, so that we increase the level of safety up to international standards rather than having the lowest in the industrialized world? Don't you think the safety recommendations of the BP Commission should be implemented?
I'm not familiar with all those safety recommendations, Mr. Ranking Member. I would say
you haven't analyzed the safety recommendations?
I have not, sir. I would say that.
Could you? I think, given your job, don't you think you should have looked at those safety recommendations?
To run for office?
Actually, I have not analyzed all of those recommendations, sir.
Could you analyze them and give a set of responses to the safety recommendations back to the committee?
Sir, I have not analyzed all of those recommendations. I would tell you that in my comments, I indicated that it should not be business as usual, and we support it not being business as usual. Certainly understand that and get that.
Does that include implementing the safety recommendations of the BP Commission?
I am not aware of all the safety recommendations of the BP Commission.
Are you aware of any of the safety recommendations of the BP Commission?
I'm aware of some of the safety recommendations, yes, sir.
Are there any of those safety recommendations that you recommend be implemented?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us what those are?
I would just simply say that generally, I believe that, you know, repetitive safety measures of dual blowout preventers and those kind of things are very, very important. I certainly understand containment issues being very, very important. But I would say again that having the new regulations that have been promulgated, we are now at a point where the government, the industry has demonstrated to the government the ability.
Even though you're not familiar with
that's what I meant.
The safety recommendations of the BP Commission, you're ready to say that it's safe and people should go out there. Is that what you're?
No, that's not what I said, sir. I said that it is my understanding that the Bureau of Ocean Energy has promulgated new rules and regulations, and the industry has demonstrated the ability to comply with those. And now is the time to begin issuing permits, inasmuch as industry has begun to comply with those recommendations.
And they issued those recommendations last month. So we're ready to go. Are you satisfied with the recommendations that were promulgated by the Department of Interior?
It is not for me to be satisfied. It is for me, as I said earlier, sir, I come here not seeking blame, but to bring about a solution. It is the industry has demonstrated the ability to comply with those regulations, and we need a sense of urgency issuing permits. Okay, well, I'm not looking backwards. I'm looking forward.
I am too.
So you think that's qualified, right? That's what you want going up there, right? Don't go up there and tell them. Go give a great speech. Okay, great speech. They must have not heard the great speech about the shale companies, all companies in the cornfields. That's what I'm saying, folks. It's all politics. They didn't have a clue. Don't have a clue now. So what do they do? They're going to beat Higgins to death, and only you and me can stop the craziness. That's what I meant, folks. There he is. Brandon, I need that. I need to put that on the website or the thing. I want people to go back and you make your own judgment. See, the good old speech on the day I was at the Cajun Dome when he gave that speech. It was a great speech, folks. Wonderful speech. Excellent speech. What the hell it's got to do with somebody serving our country and serving our people? Nothing. It's a great speech. I could have gave that speech. I could have gave that speech and got the same laughs and the funnies and all that stuff that he threw in the speech. Speech didn't accomplish nothing. And when he went there, it was embarrassing. He didn't read anything. He didn't know anything. Boy, he was going to get up there and give a good speech, and he was rocked. They say when he walked out of that thing, you can tell in his face his world was rocked. He don't want to go to Washington. He wants to go to Washington so he have something else to run for, so he can run for that to one day be governor of the state of Louisiana. And then the nastiness and ugliness of this campaign that he and Timmy Teeple, who will burn down every inch of grass in the state to get his guy elected. That's what bothers me. May not bother you, but it bothers me. Now, let me move on. Sounds familiar. Headlines in the Advocate. John George's newspaper. Sound familiar? Louisiana, this is Elizabeth Crisp. Sounds familiar. Louisiana Senate runoff becomes Team Vitter versus Team Edwards Part 2. That is the dumbest headlines I've probably seen in 10 years. It's not even close. They trying to, first of all, I believe Bananas Foster will be banana cream pie when this is said and done. It's not even close. It's not even close. There was an anti-Vitter deal out there by the left and the right and people that couldn't stand him. You had Scott Angel knifing Vitter. You had Jay Darden, at least Jay Darden out in front said, hey, my ship's come in. Got his $237,500 a year contract. His retirement's going to be based on that. This is not even close to the same type of election. Not even, but here's the Advocate trying to generate an election between John Kennedy and Bananas Foster. Can you imagine sending Bananas Foster, and Bananas Foster is a United States Senator, and we're trying to get the oil and gas industry back up, and he's beating the hell out of the oil and gas industry in Washington, D.C., like he's done it here. By the way, that's how he made his money, too. Could you imagine people voting? This guy hates the oil and gas industry except for the money he made. He's going to beat it up, and you're going to elect him? This is not even the same campaign as Vitter Edwards. When one man was running on an honor code, and he was Mr. Conservative, and all that was a bunch of bunk. And then you had two Republicans who went against him. This is not, they're trying to make it sound like this is Vitter too. And let me tell you something. Kennedy has been a backer of Vitter, and so have I. And Bananas Foster has been a backer of Hillary Clinton, President Obama, and all of them. And he believes there's man-made global warming, which all of a sudden, man-made global warming, what's been going on with that is to bomb and beat up the oil and gas industry. This is no way. This is not even close. You got a real quack job in Bananas Foster going against John Kennedy, who has a lot of respect as a state treasurer. I mean, gee, then they interviewed Pearson Cross. Somebody fell off the table and looked up. Pearson Cross must have been down there. Pearson Cross, a political professor, said it's a creative strategy to try to connect Kennedy to Vitter an attempt to focus the race on an unpopular outgoing senator who committed a serious sin. 2007, Brandon, this is 2016. Here we go. They got to come up with something. In a state that is overwhelmingly Republican in almost every measure, finding a way to replicate the unprecedented success of John Bel Edwards seems like a good idea for the Democrat side. One wonders if they can make this referendum on. They can't. See, Pearson Cross, who, by the way, gets paid for his political comments. I ought to be paid $1 million if that man's getting paid 30 cents. I'm serious with you, and I never said I was that bright, but if he's getting paid anything, I ought to quadruple my salary. But Bananas Foster and this Pearson Cross guy who's run out of Monroe, I'll come back to Lafayette and he's sitting here. Pearson Cross knows good and well. Let me say it again loud. John Bel Edwards. Hey, how about Maddie can hear that? She's in the car coming out of Jackson. That's pretty good. John Bel Edwards never won the election. The Advocate don't understand it. The Democrats don't understand it. The National Democrats don't understand it. People, because of Angel and Jay Darden, went out and beat Vitter to death behind the scenes. John Bel Edwards never won. John Bel Edwards never won anything. Vitter lost. He got beat. And I was a big Vitter guy. I ain't heard from that guy since the election. Which kind of shocked me. He should have used the whole year. He could have used the program much as he wanted to. He did not, whatever. The bottom line on this thing is they misreading it. Now, I shouldn't say that because if they want to be that stupid and misread this and really believe, like the Advocate, John George again, oh, man, this is round 2 with Vitter versus Edwards. It's not even close, folks. This is, and as Pearson Cross, that's what they're trying to do. He can't do it. Besides, when Vitter won the last time, he ran against Obama and won big. Charlie Malonzo got lit up being Obama. And there's old Bananas Foster on Obama night, a global warming quack. You got man-made global warming. Them bosses ain't fun 500 years ago. Foster, there wasn't no dang houses over there. Foster still thinks you can drive an interstate before it's finished, and it's okay. All right, we got to take a break. Your comments, I got an open line for you, 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. We'll be right back. Bananas. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline if you'd like to be part of the program. Hey, don't forget the Cane River Pecan giveaway is again today. We'll give away to some lucky listener. By the way, if there's been a couple of days I didn't announce the winner at the end of the program, there's somebody still won. I picked him, pulled him out of hats, sent him to him. So if I didn't announce your name, I apologize. Brandon, it's not your fault. Brandon thought I was going to blame him again.
I was going to say.
I couldn't blame you. I couldn't. I know your wife may be listening. I don't want her to think bad of you. So anyway, we do have the Cane River Pecan giveaway. All you got to do is send me at moongriffon.com, say, hey, I want to win Cane River Pecans. And you don't have to kiss up, by the way. By the way, if Scott Angel is not eligible, not kissing either one of my cheeks. But you can win, and all you got to do is, I need an address, folks. Please send an address. It's easy when I pick an address, somebody has an address, I can forward it, and they'll send it out pretty quick. So I do want to make sure it's the Cane River Pecan giveaway. It's moon at moongriffon.com. Also, check out our Facebook at Moon Griffon. Look at the map as they try to get this popular vote. We already got the popular vote. It's the popular vote is per state, which it should be. Okay, it's amazing to watch them freak out. And by the way, let me say this, Brandon, because I just got it. I got an email from the Abraham office to be on a program about the Electoral College. So I can't wait for it. I'll be, once again, cool. Once again, my classy self. But I do want to hear from him why he would think that's a bad idea and how it's outdated when it's better now than it was when they came up with it. By the way, Brandon, announcement, Attorney General Jeff Landry endorsed John Kennedy for the U.S. Senate. Jeff, major player in the state Republican Party now. That's why the press keeps trying to tag him out. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm sorry. Also, Congressman John Fleming endorsing Mike Johnson for his old seat now.
Oh, he did? Okay, Mike Johnson.
That just came out.
Yeah, and Fleming, of course. And then we're gonna miss Fleming. I always thought he's a really conservative guy. He had some people called. He had a couple rough votes. I see it now. But I always thought he was a really a conservative fellow. And I don't know if this is the end for him or not. I don't know.
The same we're wondering about Congressman Boustany. Is this the end for him too?
I would say I've had Congressman Boustany on a long time as well. I call them friends, acquaintances with both of them, and they've been on the program a lot. And I do appreciate them, appreciate their work. They will no longer be in the House. Of course, they ran for Senate. I do got a lot of respect for people that run for something knowing they can lose their seat. By the way, Brandon, it doesn't mean there's a lot of instances like Kennedy. He's a treasurer. He wants to be the senator. Well, you know what? That's just the way it is. Some people like Vitter. When Vitter was a House member, he decided to run for the Senate. I want to say it's a House. Maybe he might have been in the State House and he gave it up to run for Congress. And I always thought that was pretty strong to be able to do that. It is what it is. But I don't know what Boustany's going to do, and I hadn't heard from Fleming or Boustany on what their plans are, but I'm sure it'll pop up when we find out what they're going to do. Mike Johnson should be favored in the 4th Congressional District to win that. Democrats think the way that's set up, they can win that. I just don't think it's going to be a Democrat day on December 10th unless Republicans and conservatives decide they're not going to vote. The people that voted for Trump need to go vote. They need to go vote and vote for somebody that's got a chance to be more like Trump, not a lifetime elected official. That's all they've ever done in their lives. And not the ones playing the dirtiest. Because, as I pointed out in the 3rd Congressional District, a lot of dirt already being thrown against Higgins from the Timmy Tebow, Jindal, and Angel camp. Big time. And I knew this was coming up. The Senate runoff, they're going to continue to try to put Vitter, as in Vitter is a bad name. Vitter would have won his state Senate seat again. You do realize that. He'd have won a Senate seat again. No, we wouldn't have never sent a Democrat in the Senate, not right now, and that's why Bananas has a problem. Bananas is hoping to get people out and put money on the streets but if people that want a Republican senator to get to 52 seats better go vote December 10th. That'd be early. Brandon, did y'all ever look at early voting? Have y'all been going over that at all?
What you mean, like for this upcoming?
Yeah, for the next round.
I can look it up real quick.
It should be somewhere around the 1st of December, end of November, 1st of December. I think it's going to be right after Thanksgiving, but see how close I'm on that. I just think it's going to be like the Friday or Saturday after Thanksgiving, but I may be wrong on the day. I never looked at it. I'm just kind of guessing on a deal. Let's go to Matt Monroe. How you doing, Matt? Hold up, dude, because it's a hard break. If you're whole, I'll come right back to you. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show, your opportunity to be a voice. Take a break. Be right back. Hey, y'all, welcome. Let it be. Want some words of wisdom? Listen to me. By the way, I never get any compliments on my singing. I do.
There's a reason for that.
By the way, a lot of people hear me sing, too.
Yeah. So it means you're batting 0.
I really can't sing. I just don't like to do Elvis all the time. 800-844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. Don't forget to check us out at the Walk-On's official sports bar, the Moon Griffon Show. Brandon, I ate there. Actually, me and Walker went by there last night. It was just great atmosphere. The waitresses do a great job.
What'd you get?
Ball game. Let's see what I ate last night. Last night I had a Zydeco salad, and it was really good. You know what I didn't get?
No way.
I always get one.
Come on now.
No, I didn't get one last night, and we was in there real quick and gone. So, but I did enjoy Anyway, official sports, but a lot of kids out there having a lot of fun, and that's what I said. It's really a lot of fun.
You know, if you're nice to me for the rest of the show, I might pick you up an Arnold Palmer if I got to go shopping today.
Well, first of all, what is this might? You got paid Friday. Out of us two, you the only one got money. My wife got my money, so you the only one got money. All right, 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. Matt in Monroe. All right, Matt, better now we can roll.
Hey, man. That's all good. That Dr. Hauser, speaking of, I had surgery through him myself about 12 years ago, I believe.
What did you have?
What he called. It was called osteocular fixation. He described it as some bones that are behind the ear, close to the brain, as you mentioned.
That's it.
And mine were crushed. Yeah, mine was either crushed or had become brittle, and I could hear. He described it as dyslexia of the ear. So, like, people who see, they can't see, they see things upside down. We hear, but we can't make out what we're hearing. So
wow.
That's what was going on with me, and they caught it when I went into boot camp.
How old were you?
I believe I was 21.
Well, somebody asked about the age, and that's what I was trying to tell them. I don't. There's no age limit on anything on what we're talking about. I mean, if with the technology, if they can fix you, they can fix you, and or make it in this case, and in Maddie's case, make something right that was wrong. And right now, we're just grateful. Right now, we're looking forward to progress as the weeks, months, and years go by.
I pray that everything goes well for you.
Thank you, bud. Really appreciate it. We'll take it. We'll take it.
I want to ask you. Yes, indeed. I want to ask you a question. With all these protests going around the country right now, which I believe are not organic whatsoever, I believe they're instigated.
Instigated and paid for. Good point.
Yes, exactly. And why can't? And I'm not a lawyer. I know you got lawyer friends and whatnot, and as is my family. But I'll ask you, why can't we arrest this George Soros fellow for trying to usurp our republic and our democracy? If there has to be a burning trail of proof, starting with
Matt, I gotta tell you, since I didn't think about it, I love your way of thinking. If you got somebody starting crap and riots and hurting people and all that, they should be challenged. I didn't think about that, but that is a great point you're making. Why shouldn't, and you get to be, if Trump gets to be, when he becomes the president, and maybe he should put people on this, if they can find a deal. I mean, people like that are causing the problems, by the way, not to mention, tied to Obama, tied to the Clintons, tied to the left. I think that's a great point. I can't answer that. Maybe a lawyer out there can. Once again, Brandon, you can't holler fire in a movie theater. You can't do that. It hurts people.
Well, I do want to make this case. I know that people who disagree will claim that they always do Hitler. Well, you can't do that. You can't go just grabbing at people. When I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about people who disagree. I'm talking about illegal, purposely trying to usurp your country, trying to destroy the foundation. You mentioned a while ago that Trump won the popular vote. And he did. He won the popular vote. They finished counting. He won. So what is the protest?
No. Hold up. If you take popular vote all over the country, Hillary Clinton's going to end up with over 500,000 more. Okay, it's out of 120 million, though. That's how close that was. It's popular vote per state. Donald Trump won. Donald Trump won 30 of the 50. Donald Trump won the Electoral College votes. How many more things does he have to win? He's the president. Period. He's the president-elect. He's going to be the president.
I don't understand why, like you mentioned, Ralph Abraham, you think that they would understand, it seems like common sense. Someone on the bayou who doesn't have a big voice gets the voice because of the way they set up the Electoral College. They don't want concentrated areas to be dictating to the poor or to
that's correct.
Those who don't have as much clout down in nowhere, no man's land. It gives me a voice as much as the CEO of a corporation.
Matt, that's the thing. It was explained to me. Let's take a multi-millionaire CEO of a corporation. Nothing wrong with that. I have no problem with that. Okay.
Yeah,
but let me tell you something. That CEO, you made a great point, and a good friend of mine told me this. That CEO has the same number of votes as Matt. That's when it's equalized on election day. If you don't put the Electoral College and leave it in place, Al Gore would have been our president. Hillary would be the president today. And if you look at the map, and like Brandon pointed out earlier, if you look at the overall map, they're winning in some of the worst drug-infested places in our country. That's where they win it. They win it in the areas they can steal, cheat, and lie. They win it in the areas of people that don't understand what they're voting for. They win in the most uneducated places, the most crime-laced places, is where they're winning all their election votes.
Well, I need to apologize. I told you I'd call and say I didn't think Trump would win. I gladly voted. I saw it coming when I saw him pulling away in Florida, but I didn't. It was the biggest surprise to me since I've been voting.
Well, it was a surprise to a lot of people because what people do, they watch the polls and they watch all them television shows. You see me, I didn't know if he could win. I know he was trending. Okay, number one. Number two is I didn't watch all that crap. I can't, man. That's to me to watch that stuff for somebody to tell me what's happening, and I'm watching something else happen. But I never predicted he'd win it anyway. I knew it would be close. And he won, and thank God for the Electoral College because the Republicans have won one majority vote in the last 7 elections. One. George Bush, the second round when he beat Kerry.
That's right. Well, I'm going to be watching him just as close as I watched Obama, and I hope he does everything that he says.
Well, let me just tell you this now. Be careful. The press is still going to bomb him. They're going to still pound him.
Oh, yeah.
Republicans are going to still pound him. This man is not going to have a chance if people listen to the crap that's going to be around him. What he needs to do is do just like he did in the election. Ignore it, get his people in place, and then try all he can to deliver on what he promised. And that's the border, the Supreme Court, that's Obamacare, that's the debt, that's the economy that works for everybody. The economy is never going to work for everybody because everybody don't want to work. The economy is going to work for the people who want to go to work.
Mm-hmm. Well, I appreciate you letting me call and voice, and I hope Maddie does very well with this doctor.
Maddie's going to do great. Maddie's going to do great. Thanks for the call, Matt. All right. Let's go to Dwayne in Marion, Louisiana. I know where that's at because I was living in Monroe a long time. Dwayne, how you doing, sir?
Good morning, sir. I want to address this Electoral College and how it came to be.
All right.
In coming out of the convention of 1787, Northern legislature was trying to get this Constitution ratified, and the the small states were concerned that the industrial populated northern states was going to overwhelm them, and the northern legislators, representatives, made a concession to the smaller states, and they put in this Electoral College to
balance it,
equalize the states. And that's where the Electoral College came from.
But Dwayne, can I ask you a question? Don't you think this was brilliantly thought of?
Well, the northern legislators thought it was necessary to equalize the influence of all of the colonies at that time.
Well, I think it was brilliant. I'll stick by that because it helped everybody be a player. If Louisiana would have voted for Al Gore would be the president. One state, Arkansas, Maine, anybody would have changed their vote to Al Gore, they would have won the state. And besides, it's working out pretty good. It's working out pretty good because Democrats have won 4, we've won 3 in the last 7 elections. And you could say we won 5 of the last 9, but you see, you can keep going with all that. But anyway, thank you, Dwayne, because we got to take a break. 844-766-6607. The thrill of victory. If you want to watch the agony of defeat, watch the people who need big government in their lives to do everything for them. There's that. By the way, but they got pussycats and puppy dogs and coloring books to help them out. We'll take a break. Be right back.